And the point of discussion for today is how work experience, what is the impact of work experience when it comes to ISP. So we have got our current cohort students, Lakshit, Jain, Richa Tiwari, and we just a minute. He is about to join in a minute something, and Srijan. And okay, so I would start with Richa. Richa, if you can start with the introduction. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay, if Lakshit or Srijan is ready, maybe we'll start with them.
Srijan or Lakshit, any one of you can start, yeah, with the introduction.
Lakshit can go ahead, I think so, first, then I'll go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Very excited to be on this panel. I'm Lakshit. I am from Faridabad. This is the first thing I like to tell about it, because I'm not from Delhi. I'm from Faridabad. And so professionally, I think that's what everybody is definitely curious here. So I started my career in the FMCG sector. So I worked for a company called Reckitt, which owns Dettol, wheat, that kind of products. I worked there for 3.5 years, and I decided that I do not want to do that. And then I worked for a nonprofit in Delhi for 2 years before coming to ISB. So yeah, that's pretty much about me. I love traveling. That's very cliche, I know, but that's still, I think, the best thing about me. So yeah, I can pass it on to somebody. Maybe I think if Srijan, you want to go next.
Also, Lakshit, before Srijan starts, do you mind telling about your years of work experience prior to ISP?
Yes, so I have a little less than 6 years of work experience before joining ISP.
Great, thank you, Srijan.
Yeah, hi, I'm Srijan. So I'm currently talking from Hyderabad campus. And firstly, I want to tell you that this is a great session that the admissions team of ISB has conducted, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So I just wanted to tell you that no, I had 7 years of work pre-ISB in a power plant called ACB India Limited. So I worked throughout ACB India Limited for 7 years in operations. So my work experience revolves around the boiler and the turbine operations, which are typically present in a power plant. So that's all more or less about me. So yeah, if you can continue further from here.
And total years of work experience?
Yeah, 7 years of work I have 7 years of work yeah.
Great. Richa?
Everyone, my name is Richa. I'm to ISB. I worked in power plant.
The voice is breaking.
Yeah, oh, I thought it was just.
Yeah, your voice is cracking.
Yeah, your voice is breaking, yeah.
Just one second.
Kirti, you can go ahead with your introduction till time which is fixing her. Yeah.
Okay. Hey everyone, this is Kirti, and I have 10.5 years of experience, and I worked in IT, and I was an entrepreneur. I was into ITIS, so I have a varied experience over 10 years. And yeah, thank you for having this session for all the prospective students. It's really helpful.
Great. Richa.
Hey, am I audible now? Is it better?
Absolutely. Loud and clear.
Hi guys, I'll be turning off the camera for a while. So my name is Richa, and I'm from Almora, Uttarakhand. Prior to ISB, I worked in BHEL, Bharat Heavy Electricals Limited, which is a power sector company. Well, I managed supply chain management, vendor supply relationship, contract management, project management, and I have 10 years of experience. So it was a bit late, but yeah, I realized that I need to do something, good from what I have learned in BHEL. And it was time to take a leap, a time to take risk, I would say. And yes, I'm here at ISB now, having time of my life, I would say. It's been amazing so far, and I'm sure it's going to be amazing going forward. Happy to answer all your questions. Just a while back, I was at at the other side of the table, so I can understand all the anxiety and all the questions and all the queries. So I'm happy to answer candidly as much as I can.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Richa. So let's start with the questions. So very first question which comes to the mind, and you will find this question with a lot of people, that is it very important to work in a big organization to get into ISP? So Srijan or Lakshit or any four of you would like to take this question, because I think all four of you come from different backgrounds. So if you can throw some light on it, yeah.
So maybe I can start.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I actually come from an organization which nobody knows actually. So it was an organization. It was very interior part of Chhattisgarh. That is Korba, I think. So you might not have heard about Korba, but I am from Korba, and it was in a very rural kind of situation in which my plant was situated. So I had to work there, and it's not even it's just ISO certified plant. So many people don't know about it. So it was private also. So yeah, but I would like to say that the kind of work experience and the quality of work experience do matter when you are applying at ISB, because when you are writing your essays for ISB, then it becomes a big thing to portray your true self when you are writing your essays. So that's the main thing that I encountered when I wrote essays for the ISB. So that's what the thing is. And yeah, if anybody wants to add to it, so I'd be happy.
I can add.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I think if you did not work in a big organization, that itself is a good point for you at ISB, because the ISB respects diversity, and working in a big organization is very common nowadays. So I think you should, all the more reason you should try for it.
Great, great.
And also just to add on, like, you work for a big organization, or you work for a very small organization, or maybe probably you're just teaching in a school to students, all matters is what impact you have brought in your work. What have you done which has, impacted lives of people, the processes that you are working on, the improvements that you have made. The quantum of impact is what matters. It does not matter whether you belong to a big, corporate McKinsey or Bain. It's absolutely, I mean, I would give it to ISB that ISB respects all professions equally. So it's like Kirti said, it's all more the reason that you should rather apply to ISB.
Srijan, anything you would like to add?
Yeah, so finally, I want to add one thing, that diversity is the key at ISB. So ISB respects diversity. So if you are from a niche background, like one of my quaddies was a teacher before ISB. So he also got selected. So if you are from a varied background, not from a straightforward background, as we say in the layman's language, then your prospects are great of coming into ISB. So that's what it is. It's not like I should not state like other schools which are there, business schools in India, like IIMs. Mostly engineers get selected into IIMs, but it is not the thing in ISB. So ISB respects diversity, and even though IIMs also respects diversity, but the thing is they prefer more of engineers. While here we have doctors also, we have engineers also, we have teachers also, we have chefs also. Yeah, so here we have diversity, and we look into look from the lens of different kind of people, because every person has a different kind of structure of solving a problem, and a different perspective. So you don't get confronted to a particular kind of perspective. So that's the main thing at ISB. We learn from different people out here. So that's the main thing at ISB. Yeah.
Lakshit, anything from your end?
No, I just want to, I think, also encourage anybody who comes from a big brand also to apply, because I think that in itself also has its own value. I think bigger organizations probably teach you a lot about structure, processes, etc. And I have worked because in a very big organization, and I worked in a 50-member NGO. So I think, as everybody said, I would just echo that sentiment that I think ISB values what you bring to the table. Wherever you bring it from does not matter so much. But I think what matters is that what you are bringing to the class and the cohort.
Great, great. Thank you so much. Next question, which revolves around the gap. Does gap in a work experience going to impact the application? And this question is something for all four of you. Yeah.
I can start with this. So coming to gaps, I have 3 gaps in my total career. And one is after my marriage, I took a gap of like 1.5 years. And I have 2 kids. So for each kid, I took 1.5 year break. And I'm here. So I think it's a living proof that you still don't have to worry about gaps. The only thing ISB takes into consideration is you have to be genuine. Whatever you are and where you want to be, have a little clarity on what your goal is. So don't fake it in the application.
Right. Richa?
Well, I think I would like to add on to what Kirti said. If you have a genuine reason as to why you took that break, maybe, you can just say that I was bogged down by all the work that I was doing and I just wanted to take sabbatical and travel around. Or, you have specific reasons like Kirti had. So I think in all these reasons, if you're honest enough to tell tell ISB that, okay, this was the reason that I took break, I think nobody, objects that. It's very genuine. It's how it is. People do take break for various reasons, and I do not think it would impact your application or your candidature in any manner.
As long as they can justify it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Lakshit or anything to add?
Right. So 2 points. I think one, I mean, I personally don't have a gap in my work experience, but I think one, I have seen plenty of examples around in my cohort, people who have small gaps or sometimes even larger gaps in their careers. And I don't think like that was detrimental to their application process. For example, a very close friend of mine who is a lawyer, finished her law degree, I think about 10 years back, and she's worked only for 7 years. So like, I think very similar to Kirti's story, she has had gaps throughout in 3 years of her total career. Like, for example, the span, basically she was not working, she was pursuing other things. So I don't think that was detrimental to her application. I think second, everybody should also think of it in this, the way I would think about it is that at the end of the day, how would employers react to a gap in your resume, right? And I think a lot of that has changed in our country. Earlier, I think probably it was like a stigma or whatever, but I think now a lot of employers do not, as long as, like everybody mentioned, as long as you have a valid reason, which can include as simple as something that you wanted to explore, something of your own, or, you just wanted some downtime. I think as long as it's a valid and an authentic reason, and you have a justification for it, I think it's not a problem for ISB because it's also not a problem for the employers. So that's how I would think about it.
Great. Srijan, anything you think you want to add?
Yeah, I agree with 3 of them. Completely, I resonate with them. And no, yes, you need to justify your break while you're writing your essays. That's the one thing that I wanted to add on. So yeah.
Great. Good. So next question is something, do people with less number of work experience stand a chance of getting admission over people with higher work experience? Suppose yes, then what are those factors which can impact their application? Because, yeah, we can start with Lakshit.
I'm not sure if I understand the question. Could you just repeat? And
there's a myth around that, you've got to have high years of work experience in order to get admission at ISB. So do people who have got lesser year of work experience, Do they stand a chance to get admission? If yes, then what are those factors which impact their application?
I don't know, honestly. Like, first, I am not on the ISB admission committee, but I can again, like, all of it is anecdotal, what I see, people around me. But I don't think like number of years of work experience is like a criteria. For example, like you get more points if you have 2 years of work ex or like 8 years of work ex. I really don't think that's how it works. I think the way it would probably work is that what you've done in those years, do you have a coherent story to sort of like present in terms of, if you have, like, for example, I changed careers. So do you have a story and a justification to sort of back that up? So I think that's what matters. I really don't think the number of years of work, just like the quantitative aspect of it, makes any difference to either, again, ISB and many employers. So yeah. Anybody else, if you guys want to chime in and have another perspective?
Yeah, so as Lakshya said, even I have friends who have like 2 years of experience, and then one has 5 years of experience, and then I have many friends who have like 7 to 10 years of experience, and then 14 years of experience. So all I can say is that there is so much diversity. There are people from, all industries and all kinds of ranges that you can see in the number of years of experience. If I talk about lesser number of years of experience, then I would say the friend of mine, he had studied in Michigan, and he came down to India. He worked exactly for 2 years, and he is at ISB. And what has worked for him is that what he has done in those 2 years and what projects he took while he was studying in Michigan. So all that matters is what you have done prior to ISB, what you have done in your college, what projects you have taken, what extracurricular you have been in, what you have done in those 2 years when you have worked. And of course, as the experience add on, it's definitely a benefit. But then having said that, just number of years wouldn't matter. It's again, at the end of the day, what impact you have brought in your, in your academia and in your professional life. So you just need to look back, dive deep, and just understand what you've done. And just like Lakshya said, there should be a story in it. There should be an aim in it, and you should have an objective of coming to ISB. So I think that's all matters. From our experiences, you must have got a sense that, number of years of experience does not really matter. So yeah.
Great. Also, there's one question which I believe Richa can answer well. Since you're answering, I should pose this question to you. That how easy is it for a high work experience students to go back to school after so long, and and to cope with all these studies and campus life? Since you come from come with some 10 plus years of work ex. So throw some light on that, please.
So to be really honest, I was damn intimidated. At the start, I was really worried. See, I was studying for GMAT, and I was preparing for IIMs and ISB. So I had studied a little bit, but I knew that this 1 year is going to be hectic, just to keep things easy, and studies are going to be hard. And I definitely was a little scared. But then when you come at ISB and you do so many things together, there are so many things that you have to do. You have to study, you have to, keep up with the extracurriculars, you have to participate in case competitions. Everything happens so suddenly that you automatically start doing all those things. And there are people around you. There are people around you to help you out, to be there with you. And there's a statement that I knew just before coming to ISB, that you will never be alone in ISB. No matter what, you try your level best, but you can't stay alone. So I think if you have people around you, you have friends around you, things starts working on its own. You will study no matter what. So it's not like you're going to find it hard, because you have to. So it was like, it was a transition, which I wouldn't say it was smooth, but then it happened just automatically. You won't get time to think.
Right. Because there were quite a few questions, I believe, I think a lot of them, not quite a few, that I have got 8+ years of experience. There's one gentleman who wrote I have 10+ years of experience. Somebody was 15+ years of experience because we do registration and then we ask them, do you have any question to our panelists? Because these questions which we are asking, these questions have come up from them. So in and around people with 8+ years of experience, 10 plus, 15 plus, there were a lot of questions, so I thought to take this question to you. So, Kirti, anything you would like to add to it?
Yeah. So on the opposite side, I always like to study, and I don't mind studying even like 15, 16 hours a day. But then after coming here, after 6 months, at one point you really get tired of your assignments. I just want to give a, the real story so that you understand what you get into it. But the learning is like tremendous. I can't tell you how important the learning part it is. ISB is a place where you get, perfect professors for anything. So I think I value the learning part a lot. But yeah, studying is a bit difficult. I mean, I have to say it. But then if you enjoy learning, it should be easy for you. And it's like a Bombay metro, guys. You just get in and you just don't know how you go forward.
You mean Bombay local?
Yeah, Bombay local, yeah.
Metro is still under construction, if I'm not mistaken. I believe there will be a lot of people from Mumbai.
Yeah,
Correct me if I'm wrong. So Metro is still under construction.
right.
So right. So I mean, all in all, because
So, sorry, Kaushik, I just wanted to add one thing here. So I think people should also think of like the ISB, the way ISB grades you, right? At the end of the day, a lot of people are also concerned about, ठीक है, पढ़ना पड़ेगा, but grades are also apparently important, right? So I think it's one thing that people don't understand, and I also didn't understand by the time I, like before joining ISB, is that it's not like the traditional Indian education system where, there'll be one exam you cram and then you like just pass it because you're smart. ISB genuinely merits and rewards effort. So as I think Kirti was mentioning, there are tons of assignments. She's absolutely correct. And I think a lot of those are actually there to make sure that you put in the right kind of effort and to help you learn. Should you do those assignments, properly? So I think that's why while ISB is very hectic and it is difficult, but at the same time, I think it is also very, very student friendly. It's not like, any traditional exam that you will take in India where everything depends on one exam. It's not like that, right? So I think that's another perspective that people need to appreciate because all of this is made sure to sort of make sure that you are learning, right? Because that is the most important thing.
Yeah, I should agree with Lakshit. The curriculum is so well planned. If you follow the curriculum, you're just, you just get the best of it.
good, great. And I mean, like in ISP to get admission, minimum 2 years of work experience is something which is mandatory, right? So how does this pre-ISP work experience impact the MBA classroom sessions?
I can start.
Yeah.
So I think ISB has a mandatory 20 months of experience, not exactly 2 years, I guess. So once you get into the
24 months.
life, into the work life, what you study is totally different from what you see in the real world. I think that kind of experience is necessary to get the best out of MBA or PGP. So I think that is the reason ISB asks for experience, and I think it's fair.
And how exactly does it helps in a classroom? That question.
Anyone else would like to answer?
Lakshit, or I believe it's quite some time. Srijan hasn't added anything.
Sure, Srijan, why don't you take a stab at it?
Yeah. So can you repeat the question, please?
Like how pre-ISP work experience helps MBA classroom at ISP?
Yeah, I answered it previously as well, that we have diverse kind of work X at ISB. So as you are having diverse kind of work X, so it helps us to see things from others' perspective as well. So we have so for example, I want to quote one thing, that if you want to solve a problem, you are an engineer, likewise I am an engineer. So if you want to solve a problem, then you will be thinking as an engineer to solve that problem. But if you are in a cohort like ISB, where people are doctors, chefs, and all those from varied backgrounds, then you try to see things from their perspectives as well. So that's the one thing that I find very nice at ISB. If you are having diverse backgrounds, then you are at a plus in your career. And after getting out of ISB, it becomes a really good help, very good help for you also after getting out. And you see different perspective, and you are not confined to your way of thinking.
Yeah,
So
right.
that's, yeah.
Absolutely. Lakshit, anything you would like to add?
I think, yeah, very similar thoughts. I'd just like to flesh this out a little bit further for everybody else. For example, in my quad is basically where we live, right? So I live in a quad and there are 4 people in this quad. So one of them has worked at ISRO for 5 years and has worked at other places. The other guy is from analytics sort of background, and the third person is from a financial services ish background, and I come from like FMCG and nonprofit. So I think just the daily conversation, because these are also the people that you spend a lot of time with, right? You go to like have dinner, lunches with these people. So I think just the daily kind of conversation on average, they say, right, you are a sum of like the 5 people around you. So these are the 3 people that I'm around. And I feel like there are so many things that you can learn. For example, I think on a relative ISB scale, I'm very bad at math. And there is so much math that I have learned from these people in terms of like, and all those very scary courses that I don't want to scare you with, like the names at the moment. And I'm pretty sure, at the same time, like, for example, I always have anything to contribute in terms of if, for example, right now we're doing a lot of, it's also the placement season at ISB. So we're doing a lot of interviews and case preps and these kind of things. So, I think different people's backgrounds really do add to you. I think not only in ISB, but also as Srijan mentioned, post ISB, because people take on very, very different career trajectories, and because they're also coming from very different career trajectories. There are things, professions that I did not even know existed before coming to ISB, and I have no qualms in like sort of admitting that. And I think that really adds to you as a person, and I really, really value that. So yeah.
Great, good. Thank you so much for that answer. Okay, so next question is something which is, I believe, for Richa, because she comes from government sector. She has worked at one of the PSUs. Richa, so can people with government? I know the answer, yes, it is yes, but still, if you can, elaborate again. Can people with government organization experience get admission at ISP, and how easy is it, or how tough it is? Is there a weightage for people who have worked in government services or PSUs for that matter?
Yeah. So again, I'm a living proof that it can happen. And I'd like to say that, there are inhibitions around being from a government sector or from a PSU. There are doubts that, probably world is so fast paced and there is a typical stereotype that is associated with PSU or people from government background. But I'd like to say again, I'll give it to ISB for that. And in fact, IIMs too, that they do consider and respect, and they do evaluate the work that you have done in PSU. At PSU, things are done at very large scale. Like as in my case, I worked in power sector. Like Srijan is also from a power sector, but the magnitude is like really, different. So what you do in PSUs or in government sector, they impact directly lives of people. So one has to understand, if there are people in the audience who are from government sector and PSU, I'd like to say that you guys you have a large influence. You do work that impact the lives of people directly. So understand that, respect that, and bring it out in your SOP and in your essay. You all have done great work. It's just that how you present it, just to say it again, that ISB will respect the stories that you will tell, will respect the kind of work that you've done. I have a bunch of friends who are from, ISRO and BPCL, IOCL, oil and gas sector. So please do go ahead. If you feel that ISB is the place, do go ahead and, tell your story to people.
To add to that, we have Navy officers also, if you for your kind information. So we have a couple of Navy officers also, Indian Navy officers, Army officers also are also there. Along with that, we have Indian Engineering Services officers also with us. So it's a really diverse cohort that we have.
You take
We
any
also,
profession, we have somebody.
We have everything.
yeah.
We have every kind of
And
profession. Yeah.
as
So
Lakshya said, it is
also,
indeed a case that, sorry to interrupt you. It is indeed the case that you've not heard of those professions, and there are people in the cohort. So it's amazing, absolutely. I mean, the experience is absolutely amazing to see so many people, you know, from diverse background and professions that you've never heard of. So yeah.
Yep. We also have somebody from the finance ministry in my cohort. Then there is somebody I know who's from Niti Aayog, I think, which is fairly common. I think the bunch of people. Then I think there are definitely people from services across both civil services and also the armed forces. So definitely not a barrier, I think. And also plenty of people with like PSU experience. And I think a lot of companies value that as well. So
Absolutely.
We have an army officer with 20 years of experience also.
Yes, yes. So Arun, do you mind taking this question? I mean, there was this gentleman, he asked, how is work experience looked at ISB, and does it play any role in selection? So do you mind answering this?
See, as we always say, ISB takes a holistic approach when evaluating an applicant, right? But there is a significant weightage goes to work experience, especially as our student rightly mentioned. See, so where he, work doesn't matter, but what he has done really matters, and what kind of knowledge that a student brings to the table that really matters, right? That when it comes to work experience. So I would say approximately the 30% of the weightage will be given to the work experience part. And of course, then the GMAT or the GRE thing will come into picture, because that will be giving an indication to the admission committee that whether you can cope up with the rigorous curriculum, right? That speaks about your qualitative and quantitative abilities, isn't it? So that will have a considerable weightage. Approximately another 25 to 30% weightage will go to that factor, isn't it? Then of course, so all your recommendations and the kind of domain knowledge that you have, then the purpose, so all these things that really matters. So yeah, but one thing is, for example, if the average GMAT at ISB is around 710, but we accept the scores right from 610, okay? So for example, a candidate with 20 years of experience, so the team may not be expecting a candidate to score over 750 out of 800 in GMAT. This candidate will be given some preference because he's compensating that with his work experience. So there will be some sort of normalization will be considered for the folks with a high number of work experience. Yeah, so that's why even this session we wanted to demystify what is the significance of work experience. Okay, whether people with 2 years of work experience can with 610 can get into ISB, or people with 20 years of experience, whether the team expects them to score over 750 out of 800 at GMAT. Well, that's what the discussion is all about. So yeah, so definitely that will have a considerable weightage, I repeat.
Great. Thank you, Arun. Thanks so much for that thing. And please take this next question also. Will startup founder experience will be counted as workers?
So definitely. So definitely, yeah. So there are two things. So not all the students will get a chance to work for corporates or MNCs, isn't it? So there are students who already define their career path. They want to work for startup and they want to gain some X knowledge, isn't it? So one thing is, if the startup experience happens after your graduation, so the team doesn't have any objections to account that. Yeah, that is first. For example, there are students who will start their startup journey even during their college life. So the team would like to account that soon after you completed your graduation. So the next day, whatever the experience that you have after your graduation, in the very next day, so that will be accounted. Yeah, and whether the earnings is up to the mark, it doesn't matter. Whatever the stipend that you are getting, so whether you might be getting in peanuts like less than 5,000, it doesn't matter. So the earning doesn't matter. All we need is the valid documents, okay, So probably your certificate of incorporation, right? And proper appointment letters, all the supporting documents going to play a vital role. That is the case with family business also. So there are folks who will get into their family business. So even in their case, so if they can support that with the valid documents, that is fine. Only thing is, I repeat, that should happen after their graduation. Yeah. So though you might be working in the startup for a few months, so but the team would like to appoint after your graduation.
Thank you, Arun. Thank you so much. Lakshit, next question, I would like you to take that question. So does volunteering experience will be considered as an impact during application? Since I believe you have worked with the NGOs and you come from that background. So if you can put some light on that. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I think I'll obviously try and give an answer for this because I feel very closely connected to this sector. But I also feel that, it has become sort of a trend, for the lack of a better word, for people to think that any sort of volunteer experience will, give their application an additional chance or anything of that sort. But I don't think that's the case. I think the answer pretty much remains the same if I've understood the question correctly, is that, if you have volunteer experience and if you have shown a lot of consistency over the last whatever number of years, and there is a cause that you are actually passionate about, then I think, yes, ISB values that. But I also think that, people at the ISB admissions or in general, right, have been doing this for a lot of years. And the moment you try to sort of feign any sort of interest in volunteer activities, it comes across very, very clearly. So I don't think just adding volunteer experience to your profile for the sake of it is not a good idea. If you have something which you're genuinely passionate about, I think then it is definitely valued and is always like a point of discussion, maybe in your interviews or otherwise. But just, if you have not done it, I don't think it's a disadvantage because you would have done something else, right? You would have probably be good at sports, or maybe you would have been, interested in dance, or you just have, you like traveling, anything. I think what ISB is looking for is that, do you have a personality outside of academics and work? But that does not mean that you have to contribute to the community, etc. Because I don't think that's the expectation. Yeah.
Great. All right. So next question is something. It's like little. Off topic. Somebody is asking that it's like just a minute. Yeah, I found this question a little interesting. That's why I'm asking. It is nothing to do with work experience. I'm semi-introvert basically, and I do not like to party too much, chill up with people. So, will I be a good fit at highest concert? What's your thought on that? I just wanted to lighten this mood. That's why I asked this question. It has nothing to do with work experience, but yeah, somebody who's kind of introvert and not much into socializing and partying stuff. So, how do you? Because it's been, I believe, 6 7 months. You guys are in cohort. So, how do you think that person will gel up at ISB?
I can start because I
Okay,
am not a party person either. I don't attend most of the parties that happen at ISB, and
alright.
I'm doing fine. So I think we find, see, out of like 900 people, we find people of our kind. So you don't have to worry about it. And you don't have to go to parties which you don't like.
You're right. Okay. So, and anybody else, Lakshit or Srijan or Richa?
Yeah, but if you are introvert, I just want to add one thing, that you should start speaking to people because different people, if you start speaking to, then it would be helpful for you in your interview also. But if you're not speaking to people, then at the time of interview, you might get stuck at any point. So speaking to people, being very fluent in English kind of helps in your interview. So yeah, being an introvert is not a bad thing, but you should start speaking to people and different people. And that's what I wanted to add.
I think you should know when to speak and what.
Yeah.
So that's enough.
Yeah.
You don't
I
have
think
to.
I'm the worst person to answer this because I try and go to every party on the campus because I want to. But I think the person who lives right next door to me, like in my quad, is exactly the kind of person that was described, and I think he's doing well. He's one of like as far as I remember, like he's the best guy when it comes to academics. And it's not like a lot of people have this perception that introverts do not have a personality or they don't have anything to talk about, but that's far from the case. So yes, I don't think like being an introvert at ISB is a problem. As Kirti said, you will find your group of introverts, and then all of you will become extroverts.
Also, just to add on, if you are an introvert, that's not necessarily a problem. But then you should be good in working in group. Like you have to work in group a lot. You have group assignments given to you. You have to do a lot of presentations. You sit around with people, whether you like it or not. So you should be good at it. But yeah, of course, if you don't want to attend parties, because a lot of parties happen here in ISB, if you don't want to attend it, it's absolutely okay. It's absolutely okay to sit and do your own work. That's perfectly fine. But yes, you should be good at talking to people. You should be comfortable in working in a group. So that is the only mandate. Otherwise, it's absolutely fine to just network organically and not push yourself really hard to mingle and socialize. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. So it's just that. Yeah.
All right. So the next question is, impact of work experience from non-traditional background. So I would like to take this question, and I think from non-traditional background, I'm understanding a non-engineering student, because most of the cohort people are from engineering background. So non-traditional is something like Lakshit mentioned, a chef or somebody who was a fashion designer, maybe a lawyer. Of course, we at ISB respect and encourage people from diverse background. So no matter you're from which background, please go ahead. And if you have 20 to 24 months of work experience with a valid GMAT or a GRE score, and if you're a graduate, please go ahead and apply. Yeah. Arun, would you like to add anything, Ritesh?
Yeah, can you repeat the question? I was answering to the questions in the chat box. Yeah.
Sure. So, I mean, it is like, what's the impact of work experience from a non-traditional background? So non-traditional, what I'm understanding, I might be wrong, that somebody from a non-engineering background, yes. Yeah.
Sure. See, as long as your experience is aligned with your career goal, isn't it? So it doesn't matter. Because even I think in the previous batch, I think not in the recent batch, in the previous batch, so we have a celebrity, okay? So the celebrity has experience only in the entertainment industry that is completely related to acting and other stuff. But she wants to develop a career in the media entertainment industry, but she has a proper, justification and goal in place. So, so we have onboarded her. And we have a sportsman, even in the current batch, okay, who does not have any corporate experience. All he does is he represents India, he represents his states, that's it. He wants to develop a career or build a career in sports management. He has a proper purpose in place. See, as long as your experience gels with your career goal, aligns with your career goal, it's perfect. If it is completely irrelevant, I think your interviews will get more, of course, it will be more effort to face the interviewers that time. Yeah.
I just want to add one more thing here. I think a lot of, whenever I think of all of these questions, I also think of, what will the employers think? I think that's what actually bothers people, right? Beneath all of these questions. So I'd like to really put this out, especially a lot of consulting companies value diverse work experience. A lot of these people who have been quoted here have actually, as far as I understand, have a lot, very good opportunities in terms of getting into, especially in the consulting industry. Not to say that they can't get into other industries, especially which are allied to their profession, but I think a lot of employers actually value the diverse work experience that you get to the table.
Yeah.
Right. So, Arun, I think we should start taking questions from the panel, because it's been 46 minutes.
Yeah. And about, so we have crossed more than 500 plus participants, and already there are over 260 plus questions posted in the chat box. Even I invite students to answer to the questions if you find it relevant. So please go ahead and answer. We're also trying our best to answer to their questions. So yeah, so now we'll slowly, one appeal to the participants. So if we have answered to your questions, kindly lower your hand so that you will get a chance to answer to the unique questions, so that will give chances to the other folks. So yeah, we'll now go ahead, Kaushik, and please send a
yes,
request.
everybody who has raised a hand, please wait for your turn. We will take your questions, and please stick to the work experience questions, not about something like essay or the interview part and all. No, we have
Okay.
already done a lot of webinars on that. Maybe in future we will be doing that. Please try and stick to the questions related to work experience. I can see a lot of hands which are raised. We will unmute, one by one. We will take questions. And if your question is something that is already answered, please do not repeat the question. Please respect the time of the other person who's waiting. Yeah. So I'll go ahead with Sankalpo Pal. So Sankalpo, you have been unmuted. Please go ahead and ask a question, and a short question.
Hey, hi. So this is Sankalpa here. So my experience is in financial services, mostly in sales. Okay. So the thing is that I haven't heard too many people from this background in a lot of the talks. So just wanted to understand, is that something ISB likes, doesn't like, or is neutral towards?
Arun, or any of the students?
So definitely, so we have a lot of folks. So probably we can share the detailed metrics of the industry-wise representation. So your question is basically, you are in finance. Sorry, you studied finance and working for sales.
Yes, so I'm basically in sales of financial products.
Okay.
So
any sales is fine. See, there are people who are in there is a profile called sales engineer. Okay, they deal with hardware. So of course, the sales is a common domain or the functional area. Either that sales is confined to finance products, or healthcare or pharma or manufacturing, that is completely different. But yeah, so basically from ISB perspective, you are a sales professional. That's it. Don't worry where you are applying this. But of course, so we would like to know more about your career goals, and yeah, so definitely this is a common profile. Don't worry about that.
You can
right,
write
thank you.
You can write us an email at pgp@isp.edu. We will put this email ID in chat. If you have any doubt with regards to any of the background, or anything, please write it to us. Yeah. Okay. So next is Avi Jagaisi. Please go ahead and ask a question.
Hello, sir. Are you able to hear me?
Absolutely, loud and clear.
Yes, sir. I have, sir, 10 to 11 years of experience in marketing of insurance and banking. Banking, basically regional rural bank as an assistant manager and a branch manager. And sir, my graduation score is below 60, 59.55 from a government college, and in 10th I scored 80%, and in 12th I scored 75.33. I also scored a 96.14 percentile in 2011 CAT, but I didn't go for MBA at that time because my financial condition was not good. So, sir, where do I lie? If I score around 690 or 700, will it be good for me to get consideration from ISB?
So, Avi, let me just tell you something. We do not have any prescribed score or any specific score that you will make it or you won't. There's a range which is very much mentioned on the website. Okay, if you have first of all, school scores does not matter much. It's a graduation which is taken into consideration to an extent. There is no prescribed score, so be it 690 or something. So all these I know, we know that there is a lot of myth about your ISB and its GMAT and CA scores. So there's no prescribed scores. If you feel that your profile is strong enough, if it can compensate with your work experience, please go ahead and apply it. And I believe,
Sir, you tell where my profile
yeah. So,
stands.
Kaushik, let me advise the candidate.
Yeah.
So, your work experience is well above the class average. the average work experience of the class is around 4.6 years of work experience, and this is well above the average. So in that case, already you are scoring better than the others. Like then when it comes to GMAT, approximately you are expecting around 690. Again, that is probably well within the range, I would say. So as Kaushik said, ISB does not set any cutoff. Whatever the range that we have populated, that is the range of the current cohort. That range is around 610 to 780 in the GMAT, right? So that is again.
But sir, there is, sir, I consider that I have experience of regional rural bank in Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh.
Okay.
So I consider that it is not at par with the like Big Four and people who are like engineers have
What makes you
experience.
think so? If we can understand, what makes you think so?
Just
So
to
then,
add to what Kaushik and Arun is saying, this is Ritesh. I am the part of admissions team here. Just to add, if we feel of only the four big entrepreneur teams or big profiles, we won't be having normal MNC profiles as such. So don't think that if you are belonging to a normal rural background or a banking background, that does not matter as much. And your score, which you said, the range the current cohort is having is for GMAT is 610 to 780 with an average of 710, and for GRE it is 306 to 339 with an average of 328. So your score is feasibly very good with our range of current cohort, and your profile is also looking very good. So don't feel as such ki you are lacking behind anything.
but sir, a coaching guy said that you have got below 60% in graduation, so your profile is weak.
That's
so
why.
I was,
Okay. See, that's why that though there is a weightage given to the academics, right? So, however, it's not the only criteria. So we also evaluate your quality and the quality of work experience, and of course, so even in this 10 years of experience, right, we would like to understand the knowledge that you have acquired and so on. And of course, so the purpose has a major weightage. So approximately the academics will have around 5 to 10% of the weightage. That's it. So the balance 90% weightage is given in other areas, right, from the GMAT, GRE, WorkX, recommendation. Yeah, then the purpose. So that is quite evident from your essays. So all this will play a vital role. So don't worry about that. Please try to score on other parameters. That's it.
Also,
thank you, sir.
think from the perspective that you are bringing a very different perspective to the cohort, which is the rural banking, which I believe many would not have, right? So rather than taking it as a disadvantage, think from the perspective that you have an advantage of rural India, how rural India banks, So yeah, think from that perspective, and do not do not rely too much on all these online forums, because there are a lot of myths about ISP, and this is the reason we are doing this series of how to crack ISP and about GMAT, GRE score, work experience, interview, and all. So yeah, think from the perspective that you are bringing a very different perspective, and it will help you. Okay.
So thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
All right. All right. Thank you. So next is Naveen Kumar. Naveen, please unmute yourself and ask a question. Naveen, can you hear me? You have been unmuted. Please go ahead and ask the question. No worries. Srinivas Pai Kane, please go ahead and ask a question.
Yeah, some question was, I have a bachelor's in engineering from a tier 3 college in India, 2 years of work experience as a software developer at TCS, and and a GRE score of 309. So again, like, would you recommend I sit for the GRE again and get a better score and apply? Because if I do that, I eventually happen to miss the round 2 deadline, or go straight away apply and give it a shot. So what's your sincere recommendation? And
Srinivas, do you have a question with regards to work experience?
Yes, it's actually like because my work experience is 2 years. So again, like, I think it's substantially less looking at what I've heard from this webinar itself. So again, like, Yeah, so that's why.
Arun, do you mind taking this question?
Sure, sure. So see, you are just meeting the eligibility criteria. Even there are students with 2 years of work experience in that class, but however, so the high number of work experience will improve your chances to get selected to this flagship PGP program. But your GRE score is just in the border. So if possible, if there are some areas if you would like to work on, please go ahead and do that and try to rewrite your GRE score, make a part of the GRE score, and go ahead and apply. So that's our advice.
Okay, thank you.
Proshinjit Das, please unmute yourself and ask a question.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. My question here is somewhat related to work ex. So the thing is that do ISB consider current CTC of an employee who is currently working in selecting a candidate? Suppose the CTC is higher than the average CTC, or maybe somehow close to the average CTC of ISB, will that impact selection process of the candidate?
Okay, let me answer this. So definitely CTC doesn't matter because we do have candidates worked in the startups where they were getting only stipends that may be in few thousands, right? But ultimately, we do have candidates with over 20 years of work experience. And one important point that I would like to share with you is, so out of this 2,100 odd offers that we get, approximately every year ISBNs receive over 100 plus offers for the leadership profiles. Okay. So even in the placement, so we hide two things. One is the highest CTC, right? Then the lowest possible. We just share the average CTC with you, right? So the average is around, as I said, it's approximately 34 lakhs, but the highest we never revealed. That's in few crores, isn't it? So that is offered for the folks with over 15 years of experience, 10 years of experience, again depends. So likewise, there are 100 plus offers. Okay. So since we maintain some sort of confidentiality with the recruiters, we're not revealing that. Well, doesn't mean that even if you're getting more than the average CTC, it doesn't mean that you can't apply to ISB. So you can very well apply, and so definitely your profile will be considered, because for the senior folks, so we have a dedicated placement team in place. It's a 10-member dedicated committee. It's not managed by the student, though we take the help of students. It's been handled by the professionals with over 2-3 decades of experience in the industry. So they present your profile to the top recruiters and ensure that you are getting into the leadership profile which you are passionate about. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, it compromise of both the knowledge experience blended with the CTC that will decide equal to the leadership position. That is what we're trying to say. My understanding is like that only.
Because for example, assuming that you are earning, let's say, 40 lakhs per annum now, already you have 10 years of work experience, somehow you're stuck in your career and you want to elevate, you want to get elevated either within the industry, or you want to looking for an industry or functional shift. See, that is quite possible. This is what I'm telling you, because like there are 100 plus offers that has been already rolled out to candidates like you in the 2022 batch. So even now the placement season is going on and we look for better offers.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Actually, what I was thinking is that since because CTC can also be a part, but ultimately the student has to inline with the company, whether the profile CTC matching or not, that also can be act as a blockage of selection process. So for that,
no, it's not applicable to ISB.
Yeah, that is what making concern before I go to apply to ISB. Thank you everyone for answering my question.
Yeah. Okay. Ritesh, please unmute yourself and ask a question.
Well, hi. My name is Ritesh Kumar. And if I tell you about my background, so I'm a BTech graduate from NIT Jamshedpur. I passed out in the year 2014. And since then, I have an experience of almost 8 years in the operations and supply chain management field. And I also have a GMAT score of 640. The GMAT exam that I appeared for on 11th of October. So at this point of time, I'm pretty confused whether I should apply for the ISB program or not, because I already have a selection offer from the tier 2 MBA colleges. So could you please advise?
So any of the students would like to answer?
Lakshit, or maybe Srejan or Keerti, or maybe Richa.
One thing I want to add that you have a 640 GMAT score. Apart from that, you have a very a nice profile, I think so, because you are in supply chain, you worked in operation as well. So you have a strong profile. GMAT score, I'm not sure about, but you must try one more time if you can. So to elevate your GMAT score. But apart from that, I don't know much about how GMAT score works at ISB. Arun might be able to answer that question. But according to your profile, it's very strong according to me. So your work profile is good.
Yeah, profile wise, even I think even as our student said already, both are from the manufacturing sector. Both the men are from the manufacturing sector, if I'm not wrong, right? So in that case, already you are bringing some sort of diversity, right? So one thing is, so for example, if you are from the common area, so definitely I would definitely insist you to appear for the GMAT again. But now I won't say it's a bad score, but if you felt, okay, I should have done better, these are all the areas that I should have focused. So if that is the case, then definitely give it a try once again, if possible, because so you still have time, because even we have extended the round 2 deadline by a week time. So now the revised deadline is not November 27th, it's December 4th. So the R2 closes on December 4th. You still have ample time to focus on your areas, your weaker areas. So if there is a scope, go ahead and apply again and appear for the GMAT. If not, no problem, appear with this score and present your profile with the best possible way and present your case genuinely, and all the best from our end.
Thank you, sir.
Guru Darshini, please unmute yourself and ask a question.
Yes, am I audible?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm a chartered accountant by profession. I have a less than 1 year of experience, but I do have 3 years of articleship work experience. Articleship experience. I just want to understand, why articleship experience is not considered as a legit.
Yeah. See, I'll just quickly answer to this, because you are doing this along with the program, isn't it? So articleship will add value, definitely. So that is going to add value to your profile. But only thing is not be considered as a work experience, because you are doing this along with your graduation. It's a part of the program. Yeah. So that is the only reason.
I mean, it's not a graduation. Basically, it's a distance course, right? It's equivalent to what a staff would work, because we work more than 9 to 10 hours almost all 3 years. So I just wanted to understand the thought process, why, because I do have an international exposure. I would not say international experience, because I have to stay there for more than 6 months. That's the criteria, I guess, in ISB. But I do have international exposure during the articleship and post-qualification also.
Yeah, it's basically the policy decision, because the team would like to understand, because so maybe in your case, so you work more than 8 hours a day, but that won't be the case with other candidates also, because so when the team is gauging your profile with the regular folks, because the regular folks will definitely work 8 hours a day, and the kind of value that they are bringing to the class is comparatively higher than the regular folk. At least maybe in your case, I agree that you are working more than 8 hours a day, but that won't be the case with others. So that's why it's a policy decision, but definitely you will be given a chance, you'll be given an edge under the diversity factor. But yeah, it can't be considered as a work experience.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So Kaushik, just a sec, there are some questions I have spotted in the chat box, and I would like to, address that. Yeah. So folks, maybe students, there are some questions towards the experiential learning program. So what kind of edge that the experiential learning program is going to offer to the candidates? And maybe can any one of you can take this question?
So I don't have an ELP, but I can
Okay.
still, I think, take a stab at it because I didn't apply for an ELP.
Got
I
it.
think I can think of a couple of things. I think first of all, I also saw a question here, about somebody saying that they wanted to shift their industry and domain both. So I think that's where I think ELPs sort of really help you because that demonstrates and signals to the employer that you are really, really interested in that particular industry/domain. So I think that's one. Second, I think there are plenty of ISB team works very hard to get us very high quality LPs, including I think government projects, but also a lot of, for example, I remember this year there was a particular organization which offered quite a few LPs and very high quality interaction with CXO. So I think if you have missed that kind of experience in your career, it's a great opportunity to sort of do it. Apart from that, you also have to recognize it is a time consuming investment, right? Like everybody mentioned earlier on in the webinar, ISB is like a fast paced place. So you'll have to obviously figure out where you want to fit in that ELP. And that's personally the reason I did not take it because I did not know if I'll be able to do justice to it. So you really have to, there's like a whole buffet of options at ISB, but you can't eat everything. So I think you have to sort of make sure that what you exactly want and take ELPs for the right reason. That's the perspective I have.
Excellent. Just I'd like to add one small thing. For the benefit of the prospective student who doesn't aware what this experiential learning program ELP is about. See, since ISB has working professionals with at least 2 years of work experience, we don't have a long duration internship at ISB. Okay. So, but however, we would like to give a platform wherein you can apply your knowledge in a real-time scenario. So there is something called experiential learning project, right? So ISB has a collaboration with over 300 plus top brands and recruiters, wherein they share their real-time problem statement with you, and you get to address them in the form of projects where they will be willing to pay you stipends. You'll be working as a consultant, not as an intern, isn't it? So that is one advantage. So you'll be working as a consultant, and many companies will consider this as a primary selection process if they would like to have you on board. Yeah, this is something that I would like to add. Yeah, so that is one specific question targeted to Srijan. And so there is a candidate, Subham Jindal. So he would like to understand, as you have worked for more than 7 years and that too in power sector, will it be easy to move into consulting or into general management or into product management? So basically, he would like to understand, already you have left a footprint in the power sector. How difficult for you to switch your function or the industry?
No, as consulting does not need, especially I'm talking about consulting here, that consulting does not need your background, no, whatever background you are from. So consulting is open to that. So you might be from any background, but if you do the case preps well, because that's what is needed in if you're going for consulting. And being at 7 years, in a power plant, I'm also opting for operations role post ISB. So I'm not able to answer much of this question because I don't want to get into consulting. But still, whatever I think is, you must do your case prep well, and that happens only at ISB. So when you are there in your journey at ISB, then these case preps happen, and you can switch your careers, you can switch your field as well. So that's what I can say about this.
And there is one common question about the round which they have applied. So basically, we have 3 rounds, isn't it? So maybe I would like to know your perspective, which round that you have opted, and probably I would like to know your experience. There are 3 rounds. So basically, maybe we'll start with, yeah, maybe with you. Sure. It's a common question posted in the chat box. So because there are students who did not apply to the round 1, because round 1 we have completed, and R2 is in the progress, and we are accepting application for R2, and R3 is in the vicinity. So yeah, your thoughts, please. Okay, the ladies first.
Can I start? So there's no bias, I think so, in terms of if you are applying for round 1, round 2, or round 3. There's no bias in that. But I personally applied to a round 1 because I didn't want to get I wanted to ensure my selection at ISB. So that's why I know to be in a safer place, I applied in round 1 and round 2 and round 3. It's not like that. If you get if you get into any of the rounds, if you didn't get a chance to apply in round 1, you can apply in round 2 as well. So, or round 3 as well. So there's no kind of bias in that. So, yeah.
Any other thoughts? Any other R2 or R3?
I think we have Richa
applicants?
from R3.
Okay.
So, yeah, if I can go ahead, I think the rounds do not matter really, because I'm personally from round 1, but I have people around me who have, applied in various rounds. So rounds really don't matter. This one benefit is that, you can always target for round 1 and, and think about, planning your GMAT. And it so happens that, your GMAT score is not that well. So then you can, you have an opportunity to apply in round 2. So I think applying in whatever round does not matter as much, but yes, it helps you plan your, GMAT test. So it's all your personal choice which round you want to, apply to. So that would be it. Like there was a person who said that, he has 640 score. So probably if he has if he is not applying to round 2, he can definitely take the test after 1 month and can, apply to 3rd round. So that's an opportunity that ISB gives. So that's a great thing.
Sure.
I think I just take that.
Any other thoughts? Yeah, please, Lashit.
Yeah, I just take that one step ahead and say that I think applying earlier also helps you plan your ISB journey, right? So, for example, I'm also an R1 applicant, but I echo everybody's sentiment, and I did not do any planning. But I think usually if you apply early and you get in early, you can actually start thinking of what you want to do at ISB. For example, if you want to change your domain, you might want to maybe do a pre-MBA internship if that opportunity is available to you, right? And similarly, I think in terms of logistics, etc., as well, it helps because I know a bunch of folks who, sort of if you apply in R3, I think the time window sort of becomes very less to plan and, sort of leave your organization and come to ISB. Maybe you just want to take a 15-day vacation before starting ISB. So maybe R3 does not give you that flexibility. So, but I really don't think which round matters. But I think if you do it earlier, there are certain benefits that if you want, you can accrue those benefits for yourself. But your selection, I don't think will make any difference.
Yeah, so definitely it will not hamper the selection, but only thing is the time, because so earlier you apply, so definitely you will have more chances to plan your financials. So yeah, definitely. So if you've taken a call earlier, definitely you can align all your activities that can be your roles and responsibilities or other things towards your career goals. So when you step into the class, that is going to play a vital role. Yeah, so there is another common question. This is work experience versus the placement. Okay, so basically in the chat box, people would like to know, okay, I have less years of work experience, then there are folks with with higher work experience. So when it comes to placement, so what is the recruiter looks for? So what kind of opportunity that folks with lesser amount of work experience get, and maybe if there is any limitation, probably feel free to share your thoughts. So when it comes to placements, so any thought, because already you are approaching the placement process. So for the information of prospects, so I think the students are in the middle of the placement process. It gets over by the November end. So yeah, so any thoughts on this particular point?
I think we are getting roles catering to all experience ranges. So that shouldn't really bother you. Just that maybe less experienced guys will have more options to apply to. And the higher experienced ones may have less options, but still we have options, and yes, it's not a problem.
Yeah. Any other thoughts from others?
Yet, I want to add one thing. At ISB, every kind of company comes in and from whichever field you are interested for, you can go into any field you want to. But your resume should be aligned with that, and accordingly you can plan your journey post ISB. So don't worry about that. First, you should planned how to come to ISB, and then everything will happen accordingly. It will be just like the metro train that means Kirti, I think so. Kirti mentioned earlier. So everything will fall in place. Don't worry about that. Placements happen, and placements happen very well at ISB. So that's the one thing I wanted to add. Yeah.
And I also want to add, we have 15,000 plus alumni like all over the world. So I think placement is something you shouldn't be worrying about.
I think there's also like just one point that I want to add here. There's also a nuance here with respect to the industry that you're targeting. So I think especially, and I think also the kind of organization. So usually what I've seen in my experience is like startups, for example, are very open across like say from 2 to 25, as long as they're getting the right kind of talent. And maybe certain organizations, for example, think of like a very technical product manager role, right? Somebody like me would never qualify for that. So I think it also depends on, what you want after ISB, but I think more or less, I think there are plenty of options. At the end of the day, all you want is one job. So, which you will get out of ISB. So.
Sure. Fine. Yeah. So Kaushik, can you please unmute some students and let's see.
Absolutely. So it's Purnima Pancha. Please go ahead and ask the question. Purnima, you there? No worries. Then I have got Ashwin with me. Ashwin, please ask your question.
Yeah. Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak. Yeah. So I have a 4+ years of experience from a manufacturing industry. I am working as an R&D engineer. I know like I have options also, like I can switch to some other domains, but I just want to understand people from my background, they end up going to which domain, and what kind of companies look for my profile. Like I just want to understand the specialization which my kind of profile people end up going to. That's it.
Okay, so who would like to take this question?
I think it depends on what you want to do rather than people ending up at somewhere. So I think if you want to get into, let's say, operations, it's easier for you. And if you want to get into product management, you'll have to do some work. I mean, you should prove to the company that you are interested and you've done some research, or, you've done some work so that you understand what product management is and you understand the intricacies of the job. And I think it depends on where you want to be rather than.
I had interest in, sorry to interrupt. Yeah. I had interest in finance. So is it possible for someone coming from R&D background going into ending up in finance? Finance roles.
To add up what she said, ISB is known for the transformational journey, dude. So whenever there is functional or even industry transformation, if you want to have a shift, ISB is known for that. And what I think is rather than going for that end level, we should think of how should we get into ISB, because ISB is very well known for the placements. Obviously, you will be getting placements, and whatever field or industry or functional shift you want to have, we will be there for you to help out with that. But just as of now, the question should be how to get into ISB, and all things will be taken care of.
Understood. Thank you.
Raki Banerjee. Raki, please unmute yourself and ask the question.
Hello. Sir, am I audible?
Absolutely.
Yes. So thank you. It's a privilege, to be in this forum and meeting ultimately maybe my future cohort if I get a chance to get into ISB. So I am someone who is having like 8.5 years of experience. I'm working with a bank. I have worked in your lending services, in operations, as well as in corporate banking. So, sir, I just wanted to understand that once I get into ISB, I am just assuming that if I have the desired scores and if I apply, what would be the right, choices of electives, or is it like a general management program that I will be inducted into? After that, I will be doing some specialization, or from the beginning itself that there will be some specializations in which I would be graduating further?
I'll answer that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you come to ISB, there are 4 terms. No? So in the first 4 terms, there will be core courses in which you will learn everything, right from finance to operations to GenMan to everything that is applicable for an MBA. Okay. So right in the starting, because you need to have a whole holistic approach about all kinds of fields after an MBA. So that's why for the first 4 terms, you'll be learning everything. After 4 terms, the 4th term is called the crossover term. So in the 4th term, you'll be allowed to take subjects of your choice. So if you are interested in finance, then you can go for finance, or if you're interested in operations, as I am interested in operations, so I went for operations. So it depends upon what you want to do after the 4th term. So you can choose basis upon your interests and your alignment. So
Okay.
does that answer your question?
Yeah, pretty much answers my question. And there will be like some profile evaluation that it maybe there is something in my head, but maybe the analyst or someone who is there to guide me will be able to suggest me a better profile. So will I be provided with that assistance also?
Yeah, everything is provided once you get into ISB. And one thing, the main thing that would be coming into your mind is that when you will be having that core terms, no, the first 4 terms that you'll be having, then you'll be able to carve out your path, because basis upon your interest, because right now you don't know about finance or anything about that. So once you get into that, then you'll know much more about that, and then you will be able to carve out your interest also. So it's like that. So it's not like you cannot take a decision right now. Okay, so once you take that 4 terms, then only you'll be able to know in what stream or in what field you want to go into.
Okay, thank you so much. That gives a good insight.
Yeah, thank you.
Akhil Kumar, please go ahead and ask a question.
Yeah, hi Reem. Yeah, I have a work experience of 2 years and I got GR of 326. And as I'm having less work experience, I didn't got chance to have much opportunities for leadership or opportunities for leadership roles. So how can I use this? How can I change odds on my side with this kind of profile? I just want to know.
Arun, would you like to take this question? Because his score is well within the range and work experience also. But he thinks that he could not get into the leadership role so far because of the low experience, and he does not stand a chance, which is not the case, I believe, for the selection, because there's no selection criteria wherein you got to be from some leadership role or some mid-management roles. No, there's nothing like that. Your score and your work experience is well within the range, and be positive, be confident, and go ahead and apply. That's it. I mean, in our current cohort, there are a lot of people with 2 years, 3 years, 2.5, 3 years of work experience. So your work experience as well as your GRE score is well within range. Be confident and go ahead and apply.
And also I have interactually worked with my teammates and even have faced some challenges in the beginning of my career as well. And would that be good if I mention that in my SOP?
Didn't get your question.
Like I'm saying that in the beginning of my career, as I'm shifting from my graduation, like education to like in working professional, and during the time I need to have much exposure with working with the international clients and need to upskill myself very soon. So during that time I have faced this kind of challenge. So would it be good if I mention this thing in SOP? I'm asking.
Any one of you, the current course students, Lakshit or Richa, do you want to take this question?
Yeah, sure. If I've understood this correctly, I think what he's mentioning is that he has exposure to international clients and he had to sort of learn that very early on in your career. So, Akhil, is that correct? Is that what you're referring
Yeah,
to?
yeah, that is one of the challenge which I have faced. And would it be good if I mentioned how I overcome that challenge and how I got into pace with the working from there on?
Absolutely. I think yes. And I think also on your previous question on leadership. So I have a lot of friends who went to ISB with 2 to 3 years of work ex, and I don't think like that's an impediment. I also think leadership does not mean that, you should have managed teams or whatever. I think as long as you can just show that you have taken some initiative, done a few things differently, that is more than enough. I think that's what leadership really means. So I think you should definitely go ahead and apply. Good luck.
Absolutely. And by the way, this is not a challenge. You had an opportunity that you got to work with a different project and international clients. So it is not a challenge, it is an opportunity. Mention it as an opportunity. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Roshan, please unmute yourself and ask a question. Roshan Lakman.
Yeah, hi. Good evening. So my question was centered around the proportion of students with more than 5 years and less than 5 years of work experience. But I think someone told that the average is around 4.5. So I think that pretty much covers it. But I have 4.5 years of work experience. I am right now working in a financial consulting firm. So it's basically investment advisory and fund management. I've done a little bit of research, but my role was more in the fund management side of things. So would the fact that like maybe if I'd handled more like a higher level of responsibilities than a usual person with like 4.5 years of experience, would that help me in my application? Would that act as a counterweight if I had like average graduation scores or something like that?
Arun, would you like to take this question?
Sorry, I'm sorry for that. I didn't listen. I was answering to the questions on the chat box.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
If you don't mind, will it be possible for you to repeat the question once
Yeah,
again?
yeah, sure, no problem. So I have 4.5 years of work experience in investment advisory and fund management. It's basically like a wealth management firm that I work for. So I have a little bit of research experience, but my role was primarily focused in the fund management area. So would like handling a higher level of responsibility depends on how the admissions committee view it. But like if my level of responsibility was higher than the average 4.5 years work experience candidate has, would that help me in my application? And also if I have like average like graduation scores, would that act as like a counterbalance, or would it give me a better chance?
See, definitely, for example, I can understand your question. So see, one is, so you need to understand where is your weak point. Okay, so for example, during your experience, if that is a weak point, for example, if you didn't get a chance to handle bigger accounts, or in terms of handling those well, if that is not on the higher side, you need to definitely cope it up with your academics, or maybe your GMAT score, or your recommendation, of course, with your purpose, isn't it? As simple as that. So basically, we would like to understand, maybe you would like to understand where is your strength and weakness, and focus on your strength. That's it. Yeah. So highlight your strengths. That's it.
Just to crisp down the answer, what all experience do you have? More than that, what all your learnings from that experience are of much importance? What did you learn? What all tenets of learnings did you have? Managerial skills did you have? Those matters much.
Understood. I was also wondering, some business schools do this. I was wondering if ISB does this, like an informal review of your resume.
See, we do profile evaluation, right? See, we do profile evaluation. That is basically if a candidate is kept dark, is not sure whether his profile is can fit into the class, whether his profile is fit into take up this MBA program. We do that. But however, we don't do any sort of assessment in the sense So in the sense we don't provide some sort of consultation, we don't do that. But would you like to assess your profile to understand your
Yes.
growth? Definitely there is a way, there is a provision. So please share your resume to pgp@isb.edu. So the team will look into your resume, they will understand your profile, and probably they will arrange for a call with you.
Yes, that's what I was wondering, the profile evaluation. Sure, I'll get into that. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I have next question for Srijan as well as Richa. There's this question on chat is Palak. She's working at PSU and she has got 6+ years of work experience. She'd like to have insights on career opportunities one can seek with the same background post MBA from ISB.
Which background is she from?
Oil and gas.
Okay, oil and gas. So if okay, the thing is, if you want to continue in the same sector, ISB gives you immense opportunity. Right now, we have many companies coming in from oil and gas and manufacturing and energy sector. So you'll have ample opportunities to continue your business, your career in the same sector. ISB also provides you opportunity and plethora of opportunity to shift your industry and your sector, previous sector. So both the things are possible at ISB. It's how you take learnings from here, how you carve your path here at ISB. ISB will give you a lot of things. You have to pick from it as in to what you want to get out of ISB. If you want to continue in the same sector, it'll be a very organic journey for you. If you want to take an industry shift or a profession shift altogether, that journey will be a little difficult, little difficult, but yes, you'll have opportunity to leverage that and go to shift to another industry. So both the options are very much available for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Then, so we want to close this session at 8:30. But however, so the students are in the middle of their placement process, and I don't want to hold them. And so maybe Kirti, Lakshit, Richa, and Shiraj. So, thank you for your valuable time, and thanks for sparing that time during the busy schedule. I think I know how packed you guys are. So definitely, thanks for
By the way, all the attendees, we are here, me, Arun, and Ritesh, to answer your questions. I can see a lot of hand raised. So it's just Lakshit, Kirti, Richa, and the other student. These 4 people are waiting. Don't worry, they will answer your questions.
Thanks a lot, admissions team, and thanks for doing this for all the people out there, because I know it's very difficult for people who are writing GMAT right now and have queries about the admission and everything. So thank you for doing this, and all the best to everyone who is in the session. All the very best. Do come to ISB.
Thank you, Richa. Thank you, Srijan. Thank you, Lakshit.
Thank you, admission team. And 2 things I want to add is ISB alumni network, guys, it's an asset. So don't underestimate it. It's really an asset. You would understand only after you come here. And the culture it imbibes in the students. It's like we're always ready to help the prospective students or alums or present cohort. So ISB culture is like always help your mates. And another thing is it's really a transformational year. If you have a slight chance of getting into ISB, don't leave it. Get into it. Yeah. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Good luck. And I hope to see some of you very soon on campus.
All the best for all.
Find us on LinkedIn. So for any queries, you can reach out.
Yeah. You can approach me as well. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Thank you guys, and all the best for your placement process, and so hope to meet you guys soon in the admissions blog with the sweets.
Yeah. Thank you, Arun.
Okay.
Okay.
Just to add to what she has said, just to add to what she has said about the alumni network, we have a formidable network of 13,500 students, out of which 550 are currently at the CXO level, like CEO and CFO of biggest of the companies you would have remind of. Also, more than 600 of our alums are entrepreneurs, big entrepreneurs. So just the kind of alumni network you would be having, just to add to what she said, it would be sublime.
Absolutely unparalleled. Yeah, absolutely.
And you will be interviewed by alums, not by the admission team.
Oh yes,
So
right.
the candidates will be interviewed by the alums, so they will understand whether the prospective student is fitting into the ISB's culture. So yeah, fine. So thank you, team Srejan, Kirti, Richa. So thanks for your valuable time again. And so maybe it's up to you whether you would like to stay back or we don't want to hold you back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
we have other meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. And so myself, Arun, and of course Ritesh and Kaushik will be there for a few more minutes. And the students, if you have any doubts, so probably we have answered to the majority of the questions either in the live session or probably on the chat box. If you still have any questions, so please feel free to interact with us, or else you may also write to pgp@isb.edu. So we will attend your questions. There is a dedicated team which is intended for this purpose, and so they will listen to your queries and they will answer, right? So yeah, we'll take few questions.
I have already unmuted Roshan Raghavan. I think he has a question. Or no, I think
sure. Yeah, you have any questions? Because students have left. If you have any questions to the ISB team, and please feel free to interact with us.
Roshan, go ahead.
Yeah, my question's been answered. It's
got it. No problem. Yeah,
you just answered it right now.
Got it. Thank you, Mr. Roshan.
Okay, now is Sakshi. Sakshi Gondane. Sakshi, please go ahead and ask a question.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, so this is Sakshi. I do have 4.5 years of work experience. And my actually work experience has been really intense. I have worked in sales, both in B2B sales and and B2C sales. And yeah, I quit my job in January this year.
Okay.
And the sole purpose of quitting the job was to take a break, to basically, and think about what I want to do in future. So when it was answered that how a gap year is seen, it was said that you should have a justification for it.
Yeah.
So taking a break, and like it was also because of the quality of my work was like it was very intense. So
sure.
Frequent travelings and all those were involved. So it did take a toll on my mental health too. And during interview too, I just want to be honest about it. Sure. That these are the reason that I just took a break to like I didn't have a plan, and then I just wanted to take a break and decide on कि अब मुझे क्या करना है, whether I want to start my business or I want to do an MBA. So how will this be seen by the admission team? Like without any plan, I quit my job, and just to take a break, just to take a sigh of relief after my work experience.
Yeah, we got your point. I think we have already addressed it. However, I would like to throw some lights on your question. In fact, this was the second question which we have addressed in the session. But see, even one of the participants, herself, she was having a lot of gaps. In fact, she had 3 gaps during her career. See, one thing is, so she was very genuine, and she has presented her case to the management admission committee. So all we look for is if the reason is pretty genuine, and definitely the team will consider that. But maybe when it comes to work related, but maybe in her case, it is more of due to her personal reason, that is towards her maybe pregnancy leave or maybe something related to that. But maybe in your case, it's more towards the work pressure. So probably the team would like to understand, for example, because what if you have a similar situation in the coming job? Okay, how you are going to adapt to that? right? So if you have, what the team would like to understand your plans, maybe the interviewer would like to know about that. What if you will be facing the similar situation, whether you will drop off, right? So definitely we would like you to have some sort of plans to tackle that, at least in the future. If you realize that, okay, this is something that I have committed, probably I need to work on this. So probably if you can identify those areas and if you have plans to, overcome that, I think that is fine.
Okay.
But if you don't have any plans and probably still if you can't justify that, I think then there will be a issue. Yeah, Videsh.
Just to add to what Aruna said, obviously, if there is a gap, there will be questions around the gap when the interview is going on. Interviewer would just like to have an appropriate answer from your side. Why was the gap there? If you have the appropriate answer to his questions, then it is good to go.
Yeah. So hope we have answered.
So just one more thing. When you said I should have an appropriate answer, like taking a break, like for no reason at all. Just you want to take a break. You have been working for last 4.5 years and your school life, everything, never you have had ever a break or like anything. You have been all schooling and everything has been done. And you just want to take a break. You just want to like stop and then decide. So is it not justifiable? I just want to know.
See, if it is
what was the reason behind that? What was the reason behind that?
If it
the
is
gap
shareable,
should have been. Yes, Arun, you want to take it?
Yeah, if it is shareable, definitely we'll get on a call with you. Okay, so we'll understand this and we'll definitely help you out. We'll definitely try to help you out.
Yeah, thank you.
Ishita, AG, please unmute yourself and ask a question. Ishita, we cannot hear you. Arun, am I audible?
You are audible. I think she's
Ishita is not. No worries.
She's not online.
No worries. Rahul Agarwal, please go ahead and ask the question.
Yeah. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. So basically, I am a chartered accountant and I did my graduation from St. Xavier's, Kolkata. And after clearing my chartered accountancy exam, I joined BDO India in the financial due diligence profile, whether there we help basically the VCs or the PE companies to evaluate whether the startup is worth investing or not, or in the acquisition of any manufacturing companies. And after 1 year, I switched to PwC, and I'm working in PwC for last 2.5 years. And during this tenure in last 2.5 years, I also got promoted to assistant manager now, recently in this year. So this is about my professional career. Now coming to GMAT, like I have been preparing for GMAT. So considering this profile, actually this is a big hectic profile. So I used to wake up early and I'm preparing in the morning only. And that's why I am really struggling with the GMAT score. And currently after my mock, I'm scoring around 620 that I can increase to 640 maybe in next 1 month or something. So is it sufficient or should I increase it to 680 level? Then only I can apply.
See, it depends. We got your question. See, though we have addressed this many times, so that is completely depends. So because ISB has accepted a candidate with around 605 GMAT score. Okay, we have also rejected a candidate with 780 out of 800, right? So okay, due to various reasons. So we have accepted the candidate with 605 because he has copied up with, of course, so he has matched up with the quality and the quantity of work experience. The purpose is good. The recommendation is good. So it adds a lot of credibility to this profile. His academics are pretty decent. So definitely the other parameters are good. Like, So maybe in this case, the other way around, just because he has scored a good mark in GMAT or GRE, ISB did not consider this candidate because this candidate does not have a proper purpose in place, and his quality and his work experience is not adding up to his profile, and so it does not add any value to his career goal or not to his passion. So yeah, just for the sake he has done something, so we have ignored that candidate. So it's completely depends. I think that's why I have presented this case to you. Now I think you will be in a position to understand. So this is not the only factor. So definitely there are other parameters. So even this, though 640 is not the high score, so though the average is around 17, so please focus on the other areas. So please highlight your profile, I mean, your achievements and your roles and responsibilities, and what kind of, value addition that your presence has created in the working environment. Please highlight all this. So in the essays,
with the score in round 2, or you suggest to get a greater score and apply in round 3, or what?
It depends. So it depends, because maybe there are candidates. So even after multiple attempts, the score is not improving. The candidate might know this. So probably your coaching center or your mentor will be the right person to understand this and who can comment on this. So we don't have that, definitely we can't comment on this. Whether this is your ultimate score or if there is any scope to improve on this, I think we can't comment on this. I think your mentor or the person who knows more about you can comment on this. So if there is a scope for improvement, definitely give it a try. Or if this is no problem, please focus on the other parameters and go ahead and apply. Yeah. This is all sufficient.
Thank you, Arun Prakash. Thank you everyone.
Venkat Ramuju, please ask the question.
Venkat, thank you for giving this opportunity. Am I audible?
Absolutely. Yeah, please ask the question.
Yeah,
actually,
Go ahead, Mr. Venkat.
Thank you. Actually, I'm a 2020 graduate from IIT Hyderabad. I had good academics. I'm the silver medalist from IIT Hyderabad, and I joined Oil PSU HPCL. Currently, at this point of time, I'm having 2.2 years of work experience. But I didn't had very good experience. I didn't had much achievements at my office, and also at the same time, my boss is also not eager to give me good recommendation. I had a GRE score of 320. Is it advisable to apply at this point? Because I don't want to work any longer in this company. I just wanted to do MBA or switch my career. I didn't feel better at this company. So is it advisable to apply at this point of time, or is it advisable to improve my extracurricular activities and GRE score and apply for a later round or the next year?
So would you like to take this question, Ritesh, or can I go ahead?
Yeah, I think we have answered this question many a times. See, ISB looks on an holistic approach. This is not the thing that if you have lesser number of working experience, or if you have low academics, or if you have low scores in GMAT and GRE, it doesn't matter. Every parameter is graded in a manner. We have a holistic approach wherein all the 5 parameters we look upon is your working experience, your academics, your essay, your letter of recommendations, and your SOP. So these all things matters much. So if you can compensate one lower score of GRE and GMAT with a very good profile, or a higher number of experience, or a very good GMAT score, it does the work. Everything else would be taken care of. ISB doesn't look upon you as a single parameter person. We look upon the holistic approach. Please understand, all the students who are there, we look upon the holistic approach, and it does not matter if you have a low score. You can compensate it with a very good profile or something else, something good with any of the parameters.
See, in this case, let me add to what Mr. Ritesh has said. See, I think your pain point is, since you don't have a proper rapport with your boss, so that he is not in a position
Anyone.
to, yeah, he's not in a position to give a recommendation. See, not necessary that your recommendation should come from your immediate supervisor. So in some cases, so mostly it is recommended if that LOR or thing comes from your supervisor. But in some case, probably you can get it from your professor also. Probably if you have done any projects under your professor, probably during your graduation level or even during the internship period, even that can be considered, right? So even if the team asks why you're not getting recommendation from the supervisor, then you please present your case genuinely, right? So this is one solution. So the second solution is could be maybe the second point. So you are a bit concerned about the roles. So though you are in a good company and unfortunately the team did not provided ample opportunities where you can exhibit your true potential. So this can be one genuine reason that's why you are looking for a job change. Please present this case genuinely, right? But the team would like to understand your career goal, but also you like to understand your strategy, that is your approach, what kind of approach that you are planning to have, so that will take you to your career goal. So if you are clear about that, no problem. So for example, if X is your career goal, in order to achieve X, you need to have 10 plus skill sets. So right now you just have only one. Probably the team would like to know your plan for acquiring the balance 9, and what is the timeline and what is the approach that you have to acquire the balance 9 odd skill sets. I'm just giving you some random example. This can be towards knowledge or this can be towards skills. So if your approach is very clear, no problem, because you should be in a position to understand what is that you have, what is that you want to acquire further, so that will help you to land you in a dream career or your career goal. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hope it helps.
thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for the answer.
Yeah, so
I have another follow-up question. Actually, one of my seniors who is currently in ISP advised me to apply for round 1 and round 2, though it was already told that there is no bias in round 1 round 2.
Sure.
He just said key like ISB takes on a rolling basis, so you'll get
Sure.
better chances if you apply in round 1 and round 2 rather than waiting for round 3. So like I'm just a bit confused whether I should give it a shot at round 2, because since I already told you my GR score is not that good. Like, is it advisable to get a good GRE score and apply for round 3?
What was the score? Can you come again?
321, which is well within the range.
It's well within the range. No problem.
Okay.
No problem. Go ahead.
Yeah. Your score and work experience is well within the range. And
So
yeah,
even if something went wrong, let's hope for the best. But however, let's always think of plan B also. If something goes wrong, whatever the experience that you have, so definitely that will help you to apply again to ISB in the next year. And yeah, you are ready. So because one thing is, so what if you succeed this time? Okay, I don't want you to miss this year, right? Because already you are in a dilemma. You are already made up your mind to switch your function or the industry, right? Now you're waiting for the ample opportunity which will facilitate your decision, isn't it? So now just go ahead with the flow. Let's hope for the positive. Let's hope positive. And yeah, if something went wrong, definitely nothing going to stop you applying to ISB again in the next year. Yeah, let's give it a try.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Fine then. So, so last two questions, maybe we are almost 9. So there are a lot of folks who are listening to us since 7 p.m. So yeah. So
yeah. So Nikhil, please unmute yourself and ask a question.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you for the opportunity. So actually, I have 5 years of work experience in IT. So I have worked with 2 MNCs in India, and I have got the opportunity to work with clients in US and Japan as well. And my GRE score is like 319. So my question was like, I have worked mostly in tech and with the development and support projects.
Okay.
So with so much diversity on the campus, like, is that a drawback to be an IT engineer?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We do not have any bias against any institution or any background of people. Your score and your work experience is well within the range. This is the achievement that you work with US and Japanese clients. Mention in your essay if you get a chance, or say a statement of purpose. We value diversity, yes, but that does not mean that if there are 10 software engineers or mechanical engineers or electrical engineers and they are worthy, we will reject them. No, it is not the case. No.
Okay, thank you.
Be confident, be confident, and put your case very strongly, and I'm sure you will make it. Yeah.
Thank you, Kaushik. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Anurag, please ask a question. Anurag Tripathi, last question. Second last question. Second last question. One would be Adhya after this. Adhya. Anurag, please.
Hello, Kaushik. Can you hear me?
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, ISB team, first of all, for organizing this session. It's really wonderful and informative. And I would like to apologize for a little groggy voice. I am having a little flu and cold since last 3 days. Basically, my question is twofold. Most of the parts of my question have been answered already, which I'm grateful for. The first part of my question is, I have 7 years of experience in project and program management in civil contracting. All of that experience has been in Dubai. I've been a contractor, I've been a consultant, and currently I am a landlord representative, client side.
Okay.
I have regular interactions with all the CEOs and owners of the companies and director level people to manage the projects and the expectations and the stakeholders. I also manage the contract for my company. From somewhere I have received this, I think, misinformed advice that when I come to India, my experience would not be very relevant because it is not from Indian perspective. It is based out of Dubai and probably a little outside of India. So when I come to India for an MBA, that would again be a not a very countable experience. My international experience that I have, which I thought is very relevant to the cohort, where I can contribute how diversity helps, how talking to different kinds of people from different nationalities help. But I was given a counter advice that no, it is not the case. Your experience is not really relevant because you don't have any India specific experience.
There is nothing like that. There is nothing like that. International experience counts. We value that. Yeah. As much as we value Indian experience. Don't worry. Myths are myths. Ignore them.
So, okay, so that experience bit
As
is
long as, I'm so sorry to cut in, but as long as you have supporting documents to prove those experiences, it will be valued. Don't worry.
yeah, definitely. I have all. I have a post graduation from NICMAR, and after my civil engineering graduation, so everything is well recorded, and I've got placement in Dubai since 7 years, and I'm in Dubai. So all those experiences are well recorded. The second part of my question was, I'm a civil engineer and postgraduate full-time 2-year program from NICMAR in advanced construction management. Then I'm also PMP certified, working in project and program management all throughout. And now I have done one business analytics specialization in from Wharton and offered through Coursera. So, and I want to business analytics specialization has 4 specializations: people, organization, culture, and profit and loss, and all of that. 4 certificates are there, and in total it is called business analytics specialization. It is offered by Wharton Business School through Coursera. So I have completed that course. My goal is basically to transition into strategic management and product management roles. So what would your evaluation be? Is this a fair assessment from my part that I have transferable skills and I can transition? If you have some anecdotal knowledge on those aspects from previous students, that would be really beneficial to craft my essays alongside.
Arun, okay, so you want transition into which sector you told us?
Into strategic management, consulting roles, and product management.
See, first
So
of all, yeah, Kaushik, let me quickly answer to your question. So first of all, as Kaushik mentioned, I vouch for his answer. So your international experience will be considered. That will be treated on par with the experience obtained in the Indian scenario. Fine. So second, of course, so definitely for this particular profile, so if you have a proper plan in place, no issues at all, because there are many people who are from the different experience. There are people who have the R&D experience, they want to get into consulting. So there are people who with the shop floor experience, they want to get into strategy. So ISB facilitates both, no problem. As long as only during the essay part, we would like to know your thoughts first, though the team will provide ample opportunity for you to switch your function. We would like to know your thoughts first. What is your plan first, right? So you need to present that in the essays, right? So we would like to know your perspective first, right? So yeah, please try to do a bit more research that how ISB can help. Yeah.
Also,
Yeah, please do a bit more research. So how you can utilize the ISB's ecosystem or the facilities or the faculty support, how you can utilize all this so that you can get into your dream profile. So share your perspectives first. As I said, this will be, you can share this in essay. Yeah. So then if you ask whether can I do this way from all of a sudden, so can I switch my industry or the function? No problem, you can do that.
I'm definitely willing to put in the effort and the work required for whatever it's worth. I'm really appreciative of how you answered the question. Just tell me one thing. Somebody also informed me, and also through the session, I got to know that a lot of more experienced fellows have comparatively lesser opportunities, which is understandable. Once you have 8, 10, 12 years of experience, certainly you should not shift your maybe function, but not industry, because you need to be stabilized in your career at that point of time. But somebody did inform me, is there a caveat that if I have 7 years of experience and I'm looking for consulting roles, so somebody
No,
told me that
I got your point. Sorry to cutting you down. It's not applicable to you. It's not applicable to you because there are folks with over 15 years of experience because they don't want to get into the middle management role again. Already they are in the top management profile. It's only applicable to those set of people where they will be sitting for opportunities only pertaining to top management profiles or leadership profiles. It's only applicable to them. So maybe not for the folks with less than 10 years of or even 15 years of experience. It's no problem. So even
and also, Anurag, we have a consulting specific webinar this Sunday, careers in consulting.
I have registered for it. I have registered for it.
We have our Adam or also one of our current student who is a part of consulting club. You can join them and you can have a better and a very better perspective and a clear picture about it. Yeah.
Sure.
I will surely do that. Thank you for your time, gentlemen. I really appreciate your response.
Sure. So, Ritesh, would you like to continue?
Just one thing. Last question with Adya, I already told. We have just honestly 4 more minutes.
I actually was wanting to give cite an example for what the question was. We just for your experience also, Kaushik, we had a student with more than 10 years of experience who had a background of mechanical engineering, and he is holding 2 hospitals in 2 of the major cities in India. So this is the kind of transformational journey ISB provides. So just to add to what his question was earlier, just when you answered that, so there is transformation at any given point of time.
Yeah, and also do not listen to people. There's this saying in Hindi. I don't know whether I should mention that or not. There's a song, very famous Hindi song. कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे लोगों का काम है कहना. Do not ignore them. We are the right people. You have our email IDs, which is pgp@isp.edu. और जितने लोग होते हैं तरह की बातें होती. Do not just dependent on the online forums. There are a lot of
believe on the authentic information from the authentic people. Right?
Exactly. You have email IDs. You can write it to us anytime. And last question, since I promised, it is Adya S. I have unmuted her. Adya, please ask a question. You've just got 3 more minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaushik. Wouldn't take too much of your time. So I had applied for ISB last year, basically January this year, third round. I had a GRE of 317, which was below the average at that point in time as well. And during my time of application, I had 2.5 years of experience. I worked for an IT company in a partner account management role. And recently in August, I shifted to e-commerce as a domain and in one of the leading companies here in the city, and it's a people management role over here, so that it's quite a transition for me from a function perspective and in terms of responsibility as well. But my score still remains the same, which is 317. I want to know if I reapply once again, I would be having an experience of roughly 3.5 to 3.8 years. And
whether the career goals remain the same or even that has been changed over the period of time?
Career goals has evolved, I would say, but the destination for me was to move to e-commerce or entertainment, and that is checked. Hello?
Yeah, so can you come again with the last point?
Yeah, so initially the idea was to also shift my industry towards e-commerce or entertainment, but I had already made that transition.
Got it.
That is one box checked. In terms of career goals, it's definitely to evolve into a leadership position in the current industry. Of course, I have some specific roles in mind, but at a high level, this is going to be it.
Got it. See, already you are in people management, isn't it? So I don't think you like to have a career in marketing or a career in operations, isn't it? So, so you like to, I think that should be the case. I don't know the exact scenario. Since you are already in the people management, so probably you would like to evolve in this field. You would like to grow further in the given function, isn't it? Or would you like to switch your function again?
No, it in the given function itself.
Then no problem. So I think it's easier for you to justify this, right? So already you have acquired some sort of skill sets. So probably you are already on the job and you have started acquiring the skill sets, isn't it? So I think that will add a lot of value, because earlier you don't have any clue about what people management is about. Now you have started exploring different avenues, isn't it? So now I think with the PGP program, now I think you can relate what is that you wanted to understand from ISB, you wanted to learn from ISB. Now you are in a better position to answer to this question. So I think you can definitely write a better essay now. So if there is a chance, please make a new attempt when it comes to GMAT or GRE. Yeah, if there is a possibility, give a second thought on reappearing for this GMAT or GRE. Yeah, so I think you can't do anything on your academics, but now you can do something about your purpose, that is through essay. I think that is going to make some difference. So all the best.
Yeah, thank you, Arun. Thank you so much for this. Thank you, Ritesh, for being one of the great co-hosts. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. With this, we need to wrap up the session. For anything, you have our email IDs, which is pgp@iasb.edu. I have written that in the chat. Please write it to us. Also, stay tuned to our LinkedIn page, Instagram page, Facebook page. You will get a lot of information with regards to such webinars which we are doing to help you all with all the doubts and myths which are available online. I know. So stay tuned to all our channels, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. And yeah, next Wednesday again we will be here at the space taking your questions. Yeah, thank you. With this, thank you so much. Good night, everyone. And for anything, please write it to us.
Bye.
Bye.
So thank you, every team. We have successfully completed this session. Thanks for your support.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.